Harihi Om, Harihi Om. 3 times Omkara. Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpatyadihetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Namaha. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Harihi Om. Suswagatam. We all are studying a very nice text which helps us to understand a state of meditation better and better. It is Amritabindu Upanishad. In life, we all have to understand and reconfirm what is that. How do I look at life? How do I look at life? Do I look at life as a part, or do I look at life as whole? If I look at life as a part, then my vision remains narrow. If I look at the life as whole, my vision is now universal. And this universal vision is indicated through the Upanishad. One must pray for the Lord and His Kripa, His grace, to give us the strength to realize the truth. Let us chant the Mangala Charana shloka the mantra of the Upanishad. Om Bhatram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashe Makshabhiryajatra Sthirairangai Stushtvagam Sastanubhi Vishema Devagitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaha Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaha Swasti nastaksho Arishtanemi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadhatu Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As a seeker, a prayer is to have auspiciousness all around us so we can grow faster and realize the truth. Let us chant the mantra number 7 and 8. Svarena sandhayet yogam aswaram bhavayet param asvarenanubhavena bhavo va bhava ishyate tadeva nishkalam brahma nirvikalpam niranjanam tad brahmahamiti jnatva brahma sampadyate dhruvam. So in the 7th verse, it is beautifully, a support is given for lifting the mind and making it more focused on the practice of meditation. And in 8th verse, it is said that one who reaches here and understand that nature of the truth can realize the self. Now, let us start with the verse number 9. Verse number 9. Nirvikalpamanantam cha nirvikalpam anantam cha hetu drishtanta varjitam aprameyamanadim cha yajñatva muchyate buddhaha. So first we'll see the word by word meaning. Nirvikalpam, devoid of any division, without parts. We can understand as without parts. No division at all. Anantam. Anantam is infinite, endless. Then hetu drishtanta varjitam, beyond any logic or any comparison. That is called as drishtanta, hetu drishtanta varjitam. Aprameyam, that which is immeasurable. That which is immeasurable. Anadim, without any beginning. Anadim, beginningless. Yat jnatva, that which jnatva, having known. Muchyate buddhaha, buddhaha, a wise person. Muchyate is liberated. Okay. Now, let us see one who has this experience, one who knows yat jnatva, by knowing which, what? By knowing which? The nature of the self. So how is the nature of the self? Then one indication is given here. First, nirvikalpam. So the nature of the self, the Paramatma Tattva, is devoid of any division. That is the nature of the self. Anantam, the second important aspect as a nature of the self is infinite. Anantam. Hetu drishtanta varjitam. Now this point is very important. It is beyond the logic and comparison. So no one can know the self by applying any logic one who can understand. It is not possible. Similarly, by any comparison, it is not gained or it is not known. Then it is aprameyam. immeasurable. Someone has this notion that let me just measure and understand the self. No, it is not possible. We will again take up it into detail. Then it says anadim, that which is beginningless, without any beginning. That's the nature of the self. Then that which is the self, which has these aspects, one who realizes, having known these all aspects of the self, a wise person is liberated. So one by one, let us start the analysis. The first question: what do we understand by liberation? What do we understand by liberation? So the answer is, when we talk of liberation, let us first ask this question: what is bondage? So such are the important aspect of reflection. When you try to understand liberation, so first let us know what is called as bondage. So what is a bondage? So in this Upanishad, it is beautifully mentioned. Bondage is nothing but a mind which has lots and lots of desires. And that is called as a bondage. What is called as liberation then? So the same Upanishad tells us the mind which is free of all egocentric desires, that is a liberation. That is a liberation. So one is called as Ashuddha Mana, one is called as Shuddha Mana. When the mind becomes absolutely pure, it is absolutely free. When the mind is impure, it is under this bondage. So we have seen what is liberation and what is bondage. Let us ask this one more question: who is this wise person? Who is this wise person? So we can now understand wise person as per the transactional world and as per the paramarthic path, or as per the spiritual path. So let us first see who is a wise person from the transactional world. Now just see. People say you have to be a great diplomat. We have to be a great diplomat. You should not able to allow people to make, understand or know what is going on in your mind. So your mind has one thing and you are saying something. So people understand, or this transactional world understand this to be a great wise person and a very effective management, so-called as administrator. So from the standpoint of the world, these people understand as a wise person. But from this standpoint of our spiritual path, who is a wise person? The wise person is one who has understood the supreme goal of life. One who has understood the supreme goal of life. And that person who is striving very hard to realize the self. That is a wise person. So such person, when takes up this path of spirituality, this path of the truth, then he is sincere and honest about everything. Please understand. This person is sincere and honest not about a particular thing. As I mentioned in the beginning, that first let us understand and reconfirm that what I look at life. If I look at life only as a part, then I may be sincere to someone, but I may not be sincere to all. Please note this. Similarly, if my so-called as focus is on the part of life, I may be honest to few, but I may not be honest to all. But if my vision of life, or if my focus of life is total, then my vision is universal and I am honest to everyone and for everything. I am sincere about everything and for everyone. So this is the quality of a wise person. Then ask this question, why anyone is trying to gain the freedom? Why anyone is trying to gain the freedom? So one must understand in this aspect what actually is a freedom. What actually is a freedom? So one must understand both standpoints. People understand from the transactional standpoint what is freedom from the transactional standpoint. They say that whatever I wish, I want to do, and I keep doing that, that's called as freedom. That means whatever I want to do it, and I keep doing it, and that's called as my freedom. That is a notion in transactional world. But in the spiritual world, what is a freedom? When the mind is free of notion of incompleteness. When the mind is completely, totally free of this notion of incompleteness, then that is called as absolute freedom. And please note, this absolute freedom is not temporary. That today I am feeling complete. I do not know tomorrow. Then that's not the real freedom. This complete destruction of this notion of incompleteness, that is real freedom. So we have understood from asking a different question to the different parts of the verse. So now let us focus on one aspect as a nature of the self. Here it is said, it is nirvikalpam. So in the last verse also, this Upanishad has given us this beautiful word called as nirvikalpam. So what is called as devoid of any division. So look at the self and understand the self. The self is subtle of the subtlest. That's the first point one must note. It is the subtlest of everything. So when this one word is understood, it is subtlest of all, that means it is immeasurable. That's the point one must understand. It is immeasurable. Then comes a point, why it is immeasurable? Because it is anadi anantam. Hope it is clear now. Because it is anadi anantam. Because it does not have any beginning and it does not have any end. That means it is infinite. That which is infinite, can anyone measure it? No. Which cannot be measured at all by any means of this transactional world. Now, that which is such, which is immeasurable, that which is devoid of any division, that which is beginningless, that which is endless, how can such a subtle thing we can know by any sort of logic or by any comparison? Because logic requires some support of this objective world. Example, that if someone says there is a fire, then how do you know there is a fire? I can't see. Then that person may say, see, I with my inference and I with my pre-knowledge can understand the smoke which is coming, and you can see the smoke, therefore I can understand this, that without the fire there cannot be a smoke, and that's why I said there is a fire. So what it is to the reference to the something. Whereas in case of the self, there is no reference possible. Please understand, there is no reference possible, because all reference which we understand and we take a support of is of all this transactional world. And all this transactional world and the things of this transactional world are very much ephemeral in nature. And therefore, that which is ephemeral, that which all has a beginning, that which all has the end, how can you apply the logic of it to that which is beginningless and that which is endless, which is not possible at all? So, taking another example, that if I have to logically prove that I love someone, logically prove that I love someone, how am I going to prove that I love someone? Because if you say, see, I gave you something because I love you, then someone may say that person also gave me something which, as a gift, but he doesn't love me. That means this logic cannot be applied to the love at all, because that person does not love, but still he gave me a gift. See, that means the logic cannot be applied to the love simple aspect of our life. Similarly, when we understand that which is subtle, that which is beyond the words, that which is beyond any explanation, cannot be explained through any logic or through any example. So it is clearly indicated, having understood this, that this nature of the self is beyond any words or beyond anything of this world. Then what is the process to know it? The process to know it is contemplation, is meditation. And that is how a seeker should understand how to know it. So let us now go to verse number 10. And here there is a direct indication given. What is that? Let us chant the verse number 10. Na nirodho na chotpattihi, na nirodho na chotpattihi, na baddho na cha sadhakaha, na baddho na cha sadhakaha, na mumukshur na vai muktaha, na mumukshur na vai muktaha, ittesha paramarthata ittesha paramarthata. Very beautifully it is mentioned here. What? First, one has to ask this question. What do we understand by parama artha? What do we understand by parama artha? So it is mentioned here that parama artha is supreme truth. Okay, that parama artha is supreme truth. Then we must know and try to analyze by taking our knowledge as a scriptural base. This question will help us. What is the difference between the object and the subject? What is the difference between the object and the subject? Okay, so we must first analyze this. So by analyzing this one important question, we may arise to a beautiful conclusion to understand the supreme truth. But let us first understand word by word meaning of this verse. It is said, na nirodha. That means nothing, something as a dissolution. Na cha utpattihi, and also nothing as creation. Okay. Then na baddha, not bound at all. Na cha sadhakaha, not a spiritual practitioner. Then na mumukshuhu, no one is there, one who has intense desire for liberation. So mumukshu is that one who is a seeker of liberation. So no, or not a seeker of a liberation. Then navai muktaha, not verily liberated. Iti esha, thus this is paramarthata, that is a supreme truth. Okay, so coming back to our question, what is the difference between object and subject? See, first we all must know there are no many things. There are only two things in front of us. Please notice, there are only two things in front of us. One, which is called as object, which we can perceive. Objects of the world which we can perceive. And that another aspect, which is a subject, which is the substratum of all the objects. Which is a substratum of all the objects. So let us now ask the second question. Hope you all are with me. Second question. What is the nature of objects of the world? So the answer is, the nature of all the objects of the world is changing, is continuously under a change. That which is ephemeral, that which is temporary, and that which has shad vikaras, that which is having the shad vikaras. Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati iti. These are the shad vikaras, and all the objects of the world are having this nature. Okay. What is the next important aspect of this objects of the world? All the objects have the form and the name. All the objects of the world have the form and the name. This is called as the nature of the objects of the world. Now, when we understand that this name and form is always depend on something. Please note it. The name and form depends on something. What is it depend on? So let us take up one example now. So this paper is there. This paper is there, so called as paper, which is called as bookmark. Which is called as bookmark. Now the name of it is bookmark. Okay. This has one form. This has one form. And it has one use. And it has one use. It can be used for some purpose. Now, let us understand. If I make many pieces of this paper, then can it remain a bookmark? No. So, then can it be called as bookmark? No. That means the name and the form and the purpose all got destroyed. Think about it. The form is also gone. The name is also gone. And the purpose for which it was, that is also gone and completely vanished. So therefore, one has to understand that this object is ephemeral in nature. But now understand, when I made pieces of this paper, but can I destroy? Please understand, because all examples have a limits. So can I destroy the paperness of it? No. So object is there. The paper, which was the substratum of this object, remains. Maybe it is in small quantity, but the paper is still there. So therefore, we can understand the substratum of this name and form, so called as bookmark, was only a paper. And without the paper, there cannot be a bookmark. Similarly, if we understand this, then we can understand all the forms and all the names of all the world of object. Also, they all have the substratum. And this substratum, now ask the nature of the substratum. Now, that which we have just studied, how is the nature? Nirvikalpam. This is how we have to understand. Nirvikalpam, then anadim, then anantam, then aprameyam. This is the nature of the self, and therefore that which is such, which is subtlest of the subtle, cannot be proved by any logic or any comparison. Then what? Please note this important point. That which is an instrument of logic and comparison, which is called as mind and intellect, one has to go beyond this. Hope it is clear. That which is the means of logic and the comparison, which is the mean, that is the instrument, which is called as mind and intellect. So one has to go beyond the mind and intellect, because The moment mind is there, it tries to compare. And the moment the intellect is into the picture, it applies logic. So therefore, if both are present, then this experience of oneness, the truth, the supreme truth, is not possible. And therefore, meditation is one way, one who can transcend the mind and intellect and then experience the truth. So let us now take up this practice of meditation. So wherever you are, you can take one posture and let your posture be firm. Command your body that no movement next 10 minutes. Close your eyes. See to it that your back is straight, your neck is straight, your facial expressions are very fine and pleasant. Let us take 1 minute to focus our attention on our own breathing process to gain good concentration. Air which is coming inside, filling all the empty part of the lungs. Again, going out of this system. Let us just focus on this process. Let us chant Omkar. Focus your attention on silence. And here you can contemplate and understand the nature of the self, that which is the supreme truth, the self, the reality, is the subtle of the subtlest. That which is beginningless, that which does not have end. That means it is anadi, anantam. It is infinite. That which is infinite, can it have any division? No, it cannot have any division. Therefore, it is nirvikalpam. That which is infinite, can it be measured by anything? No, it cannot be measured because it does not have beginning and it does not have an end. So therefore, it is aprameya. That which is infinite is beyond the logic, and beyond any comparison. Because both comparison and logic is because of some object of the world or some inference because of prior experience. The self is beyond the both. Therefore, it cannot be mentioned as something like bondage or liberation. It is neither bondage, neither liberation. There is nothing called as seeker. There is nothing called as mumukshu. One who has intense desire of liberation. So it is beyond all the aspects of this transactional world. It is not connected or any sort of creation, and also not the dissolution. That which is created is conditioned by time, space, and a thing. Desha kala vastu parichinna. So it is conditioned by time, space, and object. Anything that which is created, and if there are two objects, then one object will condition another. And therefore, it cannot be infinite. Knowing these principles of knowledge, realize the self by transcending this mind and intellect. Where there is no comparison, where there is no logic by the mind and intellect. The supreme truth is a substratum of the universe. That supreme truth, the substratum of the universe, that I am. Aham Brahmasmi. Ooh. Ooh. You can bring your hands to the Namaskar position. Have gratitude towards the Almighty Lord. Have gratitude towards everyone around us. Pray for everyone. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. We all can rub our hands and create a nice warmth. Put your hands both on your eyes and give a good massage. Bring them back to Namaskar position. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo